It's 10 o'clock.
You're live.
Oh, we're live? We're live?
Yeah.
All right. I didn't know. I didn't see you press the button. There it is. Says it in the corner. We're live. All right. Welcome, everyone. It's me, Coach Muddle, excited about the Giants, and we'll get to that. And, of course, Nevada Nick, who thinks it should be his show, but, you know.
As Coach Freeze is on cue.
Great
points. Just say it all.
Great points, Coach.
How that works.
Thank you for the input. But.
Obviously, though, Coach, yesterday.
How you doing, Stizz?
The
I'm
big
doing
news,
great, Coach. Thanks for asking.
The big news being, Tom Brady hanging him up. I know
I'm called BS on it.
I don't think it's BS. Brady's too. I don't think he wanted it to get out yet. I think he was going to do a big to-do, like a video, and maybe sign through the one-day contract thing with the Patriots. Coach is right to a sense that Brady's dad and Brady's agent didn't confirm it. They've said that it's not true, that he's not there yet. But I think he's going to retire. But and that's what my question is to you guys. Are you surprised? I was pretty surprised. I really was. I thought, knowing him, saying he wanted to play to 45 and people laughed at him. I understand he's going to be 45 in a couple months and he just had an MVP caliber season. But I thought, there was some more football left in him, and I thought he would want to come back. But I do believe that winning the Super Bowl last year changed things. I thought he probably figured, especially with COVID and everything going on, it might take 2 or 3 years in Tampa to get that first ring, and he got it. And I just think it changed things. They said his wife said to him after the Tampa Super Bowl, "What more do you have to prove?" And I think that kind of rung true. Stizz, were you surprised by his retiring?
Yeah, it shocked the hell out of me.
Right.
You shot me a text yesterday. I was kind of laying around, and then I seen, a couple things come up on NFL Network and a couple posts on my apps, and a couple other people texted me. Yeah, I was really shocked because I thought for sure he was playing at least another year. Physically, I think he's fine. I honestly think the reasoning is Tampa Bay may need to go in a little bit of a rebuilding stage.
Right.
Gronk said that he wasn't sure if he was coming back.
Right.
Godwin, I believe, is a free agent. You don't know if you're going to be able to keep him.
Well, plus it's the ACL too, Stizz. His ACL, Godwin. How long does it take him to rehab? Is he back?
Well, sure. That's a good point. So I just don't think Brady wants to go back and, kind of, I don't want to say start all over, because he's still going to have some pieces there. But, at this age, I think you want to go in like he was last year, how he brought everybody back and had a shot. Now I'm curious if he would have went to the Super Bowl this year and won it again this year, same move, I would have to assume. I think he was going to retire either way. Yeah,
unless he thought that maybe they could go for back to back, which nobody's ever done, 3 straight Super Bowls. But no, I do think, I agree. Like, a part of the factor is, the Bucs defensive line's older. Like you said, a lot of free agents, could be a lot of turnover. And with him, if you're not competing for a Super Bowl, what's the point? Coach, were you surprised by Brady's retirement?
Yeah, because I don't think so. The guy said he was going to play till he's 45. How do you step away right before you're 45?
Right.
He's 6 months away. I think this is just, because, and plus I think you're kind of right. He wouldn't want it to go on during championship weekend, the Super Bowl, because that is big news, obviously, and take it away from those guys' moment, and I think so. I'm not buying it until he actually says it himself.
And Mike makes a great point. But, he said, Mike, he doesn't want that Big Ben type thing. Yeah. He doesn't want the goodbye tour, that it's all about the relationships and teammates for him, and that he really doesn't want that. And maybe that's part of the reason he's doing what he's doing too. Because he always made it like he was coming back. And you heard some whispers, I think, over the last week or two that it was being considered. But I still think people just thought, not Brady. I mean, he said, like Coach mentioned, he wanted to play to 45. And the numbers he was putting up, it's like, why would you retire? But I think family life, 7 Super Bowls. And, he did do some, he had that Man in the Arena this year. I think he's got some other business things he'd like to do with the TB12. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Now, guys, curious to both of you, I have him as the greatest of all time in all sports. I think he's eclipsed Michael Jordan. I really, truly believe, maybe the Muhammad Ali's of boxing. I think when you compare resume to the next, the next guy probably is Montana, and he's got, 3 more Super Bowls than him. Obviously the stats are way higher.
What's up, James?
Yeah, what's going on, James? To me, he's the GOAT of all sports. Do you agree with that, Coach, or do you no?
No, I agree with that. What else? The guy's accomplished more than any other guy in any sport. Well, maybe I take that back. Maybe DiMaggio, those Yankees back then, and Yogi Berra, those guys. I think he's up there with the Yankees of the 40s and 50s, where they won all those World Series.
Stizz, go to all sports.
That's a bold statement. There's a lot of great players. So, man,
what's up, Sam?
I don't know if I can say he's the greatest of all sports.
Definitely
there's a lot. You guys mentioned a few yourselves. I was always a Jordan guy.
Yeah.
But Tiger Woods, right, Mike? There's a lot of guys throughout, and I know Brady's got the stats to prove it. But man, you have to do it extensive research.
Mike, but Tiger Woods didn't eclipse Arnold Palmer, right? I think he didn't Jack Nicklaus. I'm sorry, Jack Nicklaus. He didn't eclipse him. So
so there you go. There's
Tiger Woods isn't in the we're talking about guys that kind of.
Well, I think what hurt Tiger was when he had 23 girlfriends. Things seemed to fall apart after then.
No, it only fell apart when his wife found out.
Yeah,
everything was fine until the wife found out.
Right.
Come on.
Coach, good point. That's a good point.
It helped Tiger them weekends that he had them 23 girlfriends.
That's right, man.
Yeah, man. He was asking for it. And she went and took the 9-iron to the back of his car, too. So, now let me guys ask you. Coach mentioned he didn't think it was 100% true. And I'll start with myself. Do you think he pulls a Brett Favre and reverses and changes his stance on this? Personally, I don't think he is. I think Brady isn't the sideshow type. I don't think he likes to create drama and storylines. He likes to lay low. I don't think he pulls that Brett Favre type of move. Coach, we're not going to ask you because you already think it's 100% fake. Stizz, do you think he pulls a Brett Favre and reverses the retirement?
No, I don't think so. I think his word is, his word is his word. I think he's going out, on a high note. Look at it,
Wait, he came out and said it?
No.
Right. So he didn't say it. He has not come out publicly and say, I'm retiring.
Man, the Mount Rushmore of GOATs, that's a great one.
Tough, James.
Brady, man, Michael Jordan, that's tough too. And Jordan, what hurts it is because you really wonder if he didn't go away from basketball, would he have had 8, 9 straight? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what, but yeah, probably Jordan. And then baseball.
I just disagree with that, with Hammer and Hank, because we're talking about guys that won championships and stuff. And
Barry Bonds. I know he doesn't have the title, but Barry Bonds was the.
But I go back Yogi Berra, Joe DiMaggio, those guys.
Coach,
so
you can't name all Yankees, all right, Coach?
Okay, but those guys won like 10 rings, man. Those were the 40s and 50s. The Yankees were in the World Series every year. They were the Patriots before the Patriots.
Everybody, let's say hi to Tanessa Ray. What's up, Tanessa Ray?
What's up, Tanessa Ray?
What's going on?
How you doing, sweetheart? So, yeah,
Oh, by the way, hold on. Time out.
Okay.
Hold on. I forgot.
What?
Tommy Peep Eater. It's his birthday. Want to wish him a happy birthday to the Peep Eater. He's a contributor to the show, man.
Tommy, what's up? Yeah, great. Thanks, Coach. You needed that.
Pants.
Yeah. Now, I want to ask you guys. Now, the impact of Brady retiring on the Bucs and the NFC. Let's start on the Bucs first, because obviously, we saw they were a 7-9 team before him. Stizz mentioned already there's going to be some changes. We know that. Does this take them out of playoff contention in your mind, unless they plug in a capable quarterback? I'll start with you, Stizz.
I'm sure it does.
They
weren't in playoff really contention before Brady came along, So no, I would say definitely they're gonna be maybe not at the bottom of the pile, but they'll be midway through trying to scrap and claw. It depends on who they get.
Yeah, Coach, are the Bucs a playoff team without if they don't get a capable quarterback in there?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Now,
come on, you saw that offense the year before. I mean, because all he wants to do is chuck it deep. He should have played. He should have coached Al Davis.
Now, now him retiring too. You got to look at the NFC. Does this change things with Aaron Rodgers, Coach? Because you look at it, and now Aaron Rodgers is going to look at the NFC, and you say, like, who are his competitors? The NFC South, a lot of question marks. The NFC East, the best quarterback's Dak Prescott, and they're bringing McCarthy back, which I think is a mistake, and he'll end up being fired next year. So you're looking at your biggest competitors probably being the Rams and the Seahawks and Cardinals out, and those three teams are going to beat up on each other. So it's likely in the division that the Packers are in that they can get the bye again. So I think this makes things interesting in regards to Rodgers as well. And let's transition to that and everything that's going on with Aaron Rodgers. Because like I said, I think the NFC, you look, all the good quarterbacks are out in the AFC. So if you're Rodgers, why would you want to go to the AFC when you could stay in the NFC and pretty much be guaranteed of having a game or two that are tough to get into the Super Bowl? To whereas, like I said, you go to the AFC, especially if everybody's talking about, the Broncos. Well, you got two great quarterbacks in your division, let alone only two great quarterbacks in your conference. So my question to you is staying in Green Bay Aaron Rodgers' best chance if winning a Super Bowl is what he wants the most, Coach?
No, because I think you elevate, someone like the Colts. I mean, or the Browns. I mean, you put him in those two spots. I mean, granted, the Browns, he's got to play Joe Burrow twice, but you put him with the Colts. I mean, they run roughshod now over that. And I think it becomes very competitive. But also, I could see him pulling a Brent Favre, going to play for an AFC team for a year, and then coming back to the NFC. Maybe not Minnesota, or maybe someone like that where he could play against the Green Bay a few times.
Yeah. Stizz.
Professor White.
Yeah, staying with the Packers, is that his best option if a Super Bowl is what he wants?
Yeah, I think so. Or just staying in the NFC. I think the NFC, I'll equate the NFC as just an easier division, like I would equate the East in basketball in the NBA an easier division.
Right. Especially when LeBron was making his run.
Correct. And there's a lot of great teams in the West in the NBA. We see that. So why would you want to go there and face that competition year after year? Yeah. Same thing with the NFC. I just think you have a better shot. And I think, he mended some fences with the Green Bay Packers, through the season. So it's going to be interesting. He still wants another receiver, that's for sure. And Devontae Adams is going to be, the big talk of the town through the offseason. So if he gets what he wants, if they somehow am able to pluck, another receiver somewhere and give him another weapon, I think he stays in Green Bay. Even though, at the beginning of the year, we all thought he was definitely gone.
Yeah.
But
I agree, Sammy.
now we see what happens.
He's leaving. I mean, that's the question. We will see. But I do think his best chance is in Green Bay. Because I think even if you put him on the Colts, roster-wise, Green Bay's probably still better if they can bring back most of these guys. I don't, we don't know what's going to happen with Adams. No, yeah. I know, but Coach, you can get creative. They can, restructure guys, take bonuses and stretch them out over years. There's things you can do. And there's a couple guys that you wouldn't even know that have bigger contracts that you'd be surprised. There's things you can do. But yeah, no, Coach, it's going to be tough. And if it's not in Green Bay, then most likely, and that's the thing too, I don't think they would trade Rodgers within the NFC. I think he's going to the AFC because that's where they're going to want to trade him. And Keith White said, what capable quarterback? There's a lot of capable quarterbacks. I mean, who knows? Wentz could be getting traded from the Colts. Jimmy G could be out there. And you can make fun of Jimmy G all he wants, but he's a game away from being 2 or 3 Super Bowls. And you can say, it's a team around him, and it is, but still, he wins games. Could Green Bay plunk Evans or Tampa in their contract? Yeah, that's not happening. They're not going to make a trade or something when you got Devontae Adams right there. But the thing I think that makes it tough is Devontae Adams supposedly wants $30 million a year. Now, guys, I'm going to ask you quick. What does Rodgers do? Does he retire? Does he stay in Green Bay? Or does he get obviously traded? I'll start with you, Coach.
He's out. He's traded. He's not retiring.
Where to?
He's not retiring at the same time as
where to? Is it the Broncos?
I don't think it's the Broncos. I think it's better to be in either Cleveland or Indianapolis. I think those are the 2 spots where he goes.
Stizz?
I think he stays put.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he plays another 2 years.
Yeah, I think.
Now, let me throw this one at you, though. The Tennessee moves on from Tannehill. I can see him going there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the cap situation is because Brady holds a $40 million cap hit. So you got to see, but no, that's a good one too, Coach. It's just I think ultimately Green Bay is going to try to find a way to keep him there, and like I said, Brady retiring, I really believe changes a lot of things. It does. It just makes the path easier. And you look at the other divisions, the AFC South now, who there scares you. And let's not forget, too, which we'll talk about, and let's transition into that. Sean Payton leaves the Saints. So, really, you got 2 divisions I don't think that are too scary. I mean, the Cowboys are a good team, but Mike McCarthy will find a way to blow it. Can't take – yeah. Denver Green Keith White says.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but they need some weapons on the outside, Indy.
Yeah.
And their defense is good, but it could be better. And they just lost their defensive coordinator. So, let's see what happens with Indy. But no, Sean Payton walks away from football. I really believe there's something going on here. I think, honestly, right now, Mike McCarthy's just warming up his seat for Sean Payton to come in next year. And I think this is the plan. It's kind of surprising because Jerry Jones is almost wasting a year of football. But I think it's like, all right, Mike, I'm going to give you another year, see what you can do. If I think McCarthy needs to get to at least the NFC Championship. If he doesn't get there, even a divisional playoff game, I think he wants to see a real big jump next year. I think Mike McCarthy's fired, and I think Sean Payton's the new coach of the Cowboys. Do you guys agree with that?
I do. Oh, go ahead, Stizz.
I do as well. I mean, we saw his blunders, in the playoff games this year, or the playoff game this year. So, I think that's for sure. And, it's kind of amazing that Payton steps away. I mean, he had a 9-8 record this season. So it wasn't like, it was that bad. But I think, with Drew Brees gone, with Michael Thomas out, this year, I just think he just doesn't want to be in a subpar on a subpar team anymore.
Yeah, and they had salary cap issues last year. They have them again this year. So it looks like Marcus Williams, their stud safety, is going to walk. So once again, you're losing another couple players possibly. And too, Stizz, coach, they have a hole in the most important position on your team, and it's quarterback.
Yeah.
And, I just don't think that Taysom Hill's the QB. Jameis Winston's a free agent, so that's unsure. I think it was just – and they said he was burned out. And I believe it. Look, he had a nice run in New Orleans, won a Super Bowl. I mean, you could question should he have more, but they also got some crazy losses too. You have the non-pass interference call against the Rams. You have the miracle in Minnesota with that Stephon Diggs play that took, I think that took them to play the Eagles the year the Eagles went to the
Yes,
Super Bowl.
it did. Yeah.
So they had some crazy losses too. But Coach, do you think is Peyton in Dallas next year?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was just better than Jerry having to give up draft picks to get the coach he wanted,
right?
And giving them compensation. I think hey, why not take a year off and come back fresh and take over the Cowboys?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Coach's Giants might just be 1 year too early, because he did coach with the Giants.
Yes, he did.
But Sam's right. He did coach in Dallas. He does
took
have
them to the Super Bowl. He was the
Yeah.
offensive coordinator when they went to the Super Bowl that year.
So we'll see what happens. Now let's get to the coaches. Obviously we had a couple coaching hires. We've had 3 so far. Coaches Giants brought in Brian Daboll. Daboll, if Michael Johnson is watching. The Denver Broncos obviously hired Nathaniel Hackett. And the third one would be the Chicago Bears, bring in defensive coordinator from the Colts, Matt Eberflus. So, Coach, your Colts. I know your Colts. Your Giants.
My Colts now.
I'm thinking Eberflus in my mind. Your Giants. What do you think? What do you like? Do you like?
I like the hire. Let's see the staff again. I was excited about Joe Judge, and then all of a sudden the staff kind of let me down when he put the staff together, and it's all about the staff. And when I was reading about Daboll, what I liked is he's very well traveled through football. He was in New England, Alabama, Cleveland, Miami, Buffalo, obviously. He was in a lot of places, means he's got a lot of connections, and you can bring in a really good, diverse staff of guys. And so I'm really excited to see about the staff, and we'll go from there. Step one. And I think right now ownership, we got to say the right things about Daniel Jones, but at the end of the day, I think he's the next guy jettisoned from the team.
Well, they said supposedly they want to give him a shot that he has.
Well, yeah, he's still under contract 1 more year, so
Right.
It doesn't cost him anything. And this really isn't a quarterback heavy draft. So I think they work it with a year and see where they go.
Yeah, it's just, the NFL now, you just don't get much time. And you think you do, but look at Joe Judge. He got 2 years. So, you go into a year without your quarterback, and maybe they do try to see what you got. But you basically said, how do we evaluate him? He has nothing around him. Okay, well, now you're having another year with all new offensive coaches, another year with not much talent around him. Yeah, you'll get 2 top 6 or 7 picks, but still, that's not going to fix everything. But I do believe Daboll, in his mind, is saying, hey, with the talent on this team, I'll find a way. Whether he does is like to be seen. He better fix that offensive line. They don't have much. They don't have much. In the offensive line department, they do have weapons. It's just about can he coach them up. Now, some of the other hirings, I like Hackett. This is a guy who took Blake Bortles as the offensive coordinator to the AFC Championship in that game that they almost beat and probably should have beat the Patriots. Right. So he's had some success in the league. Obviously, had success there with the Packers. I like that one. Eberflus, I think, is a good coach. I just question with Justin Fields, is that the right decision, bringing in a defensive-minded coach? I know it's Chicago, and obviously Buddy Ryan, Mike Ditka, but I really think they should have maybe gone off young offensive-minded.
Yes, I agree with that. That's the big question for me: is why did you not do that? Yeah. The game has changed, Chicago, and they haven't gotten the notice yet.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with all of them, though. I mean, sometimes, like I said, I know with Philly, I love Chip Kelly, and that was a disaster. I hated Doug Peterson. He won a Super Bowl in year 2. We all kind of questioned Sirianni. He took us to the playoffs in the first year, but I would still say the jury's still out on Sirianni. Stizz, what did you think of the hires?
To be honest with you, I really haven't followed too much of the of the coaching moves. So I'm going to leave this coach speak up to you, young fellas.
All right. Well, and Stizz, you know what? I think it's really kind of hard to talk to anyway, because a lot of these guys are going to bad teams. I think, honestly, the most interesting one is the one rumored in the Raiders is Josh McDaniel lands with the Raiders. I think that's very interesting just because, obviously I think that's a team with some talent on it. Can McDaniels, get there and get them going? And another one that caught me by surprise last night, just because it's been an interview so far, Jim Harbaugh to the Vikings really caught me off guard just because him now doing that, it's going to hurt his program if he ends up staying in Michigan. I didn't realize he took a $4 million pay raise. He went from $8 million to $4 million, but him just interviewing with Minnesota is gonna hurt him in recruiting because there's gonna be players that think he's gonna go to the NFL.
Right, one foot out of the pool. You got one foot out of the pool already. Yep.
And I can tell you one of the main reasons why I really follow the coaching moves is because we don't draft coaches in fantasy football drafts. You know what I mean? So I don't put too much research into them.
What's up, Angela and Mike?
What's up, Ange?
It's Brian Dable, right? Dable.
Dabble.
I'm not saying
or
bull.
Dable.
Yeah, he was giving me shit for saying I kept on saying the wrong thing. All right, now guys, let's get into the games now today. Let's start with the AFC Championship. I'll start with you, Coach. Can the Bengals pull off the upset? Any chance?
Absolutely. Cinderella is still in the building. She's still on the dance floor, baby.
Okay, Stizz, can the Bengals pull off the upset?
I don't see Billy Cummings in this chat, which, and he's he might not want to hear what I have to say, but unfortunately, I think
there he is. What's up, Billy?
There he is. Right on, man. Look at that. Unbelievable.
Right on cue.
Talk about timing, Billy. Golly. Yeah. I unfortunately, I think the Cinderella story's come to an end. We've seen the Cinderella story, and the upset came, less than a month ago when they beat Kansas City 34-31 in Week 17.
Right.
So it's going to be tough. It's going to be an uphill climb. I think they give them a game for sure. I just think it's going to be an uphill battle, and I just see Kansas City winning this game and getting back to a third straight Super Bowl.
Yeah, and it's tough on the road in Kansas City, with all look, all the success there, the experience there. I think there's a chance. Obviously, they beat them before, but I do think, look, it's going to be loud there. You tend to usually get those penalties on offense, the false starts and things like that. Mm-hmm. I'm worried about that offensive line. I do think it helps that it's the Chiefs. The Chiefs don't. Look, you got Chris Jones, but they don't have the pass rush that the Titans had. So I think that benefits Burrow. Although Burrow, we saw it last week. He handles the pass rush pretty well. He will take a bad sack, but he does handle the pass rush. But I think they have a shot. I just I think the Chiefs are just going to be a little bit too much today. I really do.
You know what? And I will say, if you look at the stats from Week 17, Cincinnati just balled out. Right. Burrow, 446, 4 touchdowns, 0 picks.
Yeah. And
we've seen his cohort, Jamar Chase, 11 receptions, 266 yards and 3 touchdowns. And they only win by 3. Okay. Right. So, they did everything perfect, Cincinnati did.
Right.
Just to win that game by a field goal.
Right.
They may need that type of game again to have a shot.
I think they're going to need to turn them over too, Stizz.
Well, I think too, correct.
I think you'll need a turnover to Kansas City's, that offense is humming again, and it's in a different way. It's not that explosive offense, and I know they can be explosive and they can score, but they're much more methodical now. It's much more, of those 12, 13 play drives than those 4 or 5, oh my God, right down the field drives.
Right.
They really do have long drives now where they mix in some of the run and, because they knew they needed to adapt because so many people were trying to take away Hill and Kelsey and take away that big play. So they needed to learn to take the underneath things to check it off to the running back.
Well, at least the NFL is not going to be changing the rule 20 minutes before the game like they did the last time the Bengals were in the championship.
And you know what, Billy? No matter what, you're playing with house money today. And if I'm the Bengals, I'm going for it. Don't go in there and play conservative.
Don't play scared, right?
Yeah, be aggressive.
Absolutely.
Fourth downs, go for it. No, I'm not saying at your own 28 and stuff like that. But, if you're at midfield, it's 4th and 1, go for it.
That's it.
You need to take some possessions. You're going to need to, do some things to beat the Chiefs. I remember the Chargers earlier in the year. It was 4th and 10, and most people wanted to punt it. And he didn't want, and they were at their own 30. He didn't want to give the ball back. And usually, the Chargers coach, I didn't, but that was one instance I actually agreed with him. You got to play the Chiefs differently. I mean, look at the Bills. They didn't understand freaking squib kicking. I'm still having nightmares this week. I still wake up in cold sweats at 3:30.
Oh my God!
Because of the freaking Bills cost me $1,000. I mean, it's tough, coach, when you have a loss like that. Have that kind of day where you have the Rams and you think, I got money in the bank, and then all of a sudden it's 27-27 when you had a 27-3 lead with 3 or 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. And then, obviously you still end up winning the game. But then you go to that Bills game and you have 13 seconds left. And, you saw what happened. But it's still, I have PTSD from that. And Michael, you'll see later. I think some of us may agree with you, Michael, on in regards to play the over. All right, guys. Now the other game, the NFC Championship game. Oh, wait, do I want to have one more thing? Oh, that's the one thing I did want to talk. I am a little surprised in the line, though. Chiefs, big favorite, 7.5 points. I think that is a little disrespectful to the Bengals.
It is.
Especially a team that went in and beat them. I think that's a little disrespectful. Now, guys, who do you got in the AFC Championship? Coach, we'll start with you.
The AFC?
Yeah, AFC, yeah. I forgot to say who asked you guys who wins. Who wins the game?
I'm sticking with Cinderella, man.
All right.
I'm going Cincy.
Mike's.
I got this feeling going to the Super Bowl.
There go your Bengals chances. Stizz, who do you got?
I like Kansas City. I like Kansas City, unfortunately. Trust me, I would love to see them win. I would love to see Cincinnati go on and break that Cinderella story right out in the open. But I got to go. I got to go for the more experienced team. You know.
I agree. I think it's going to be a good game. I really do. It's not going to be a blowout like some people think. But I see the Chiefs winning the game, late. I really do. I think, look, I am not a fan of that Chiefs defense, and I've been saying it for a while, and it should have cost them last week. One big thing, though, too, does Tyrann Mathieu play today? I think that's very Coach is your good luck charm, yes. Let's see how far that gets you, Billy. Although I think Coach has said the Bengals the last 3 games, so maybe he is your good luck charm. Because I think if the Honey Badger plays, it is a big deal. And I think it was a mistake by the Bills. They should have took advantage of the Honey Badger being on the sidelines, and I don't think they did enough. I really don't. I mean, you can see that, you can throw on the Chiefs, and that's the one thing, obviously, the Bengals can do well. But I do think they're going to try to take Jamar Chase out of the game. So I think it's going to be at T. Higgins. No, Angela, they are Eastern time. 6:30. Yeah, 3 and 6:30. So it would be 12:30, 12 and 6:30 on the West Coast for Angela. T's, KC, and over. I like that, Michael. I like that. Yeah. Now, Michael, it's 6:30 on the East Coast, buddy. Yeah, you'll be like Coach. You'll be an hour late. Sitting down
trying to get a bet in.
You don't want that to happen. Now, guys, Rams-Niners game. All right, so 6 straight wins for the Niners. Going for 7 straight, against these Rams. Week 18, these two teams played. Rams jumped out to a 17-0 lead. And obviously, Niners come back and win the game. At that point, McVay was 45-0 when he had a halftime lead. And look what he's put in 2 of the last 3 games where you have halftime leads. He almost lost one last week. And, obviously lost one to the Niners. So he was 45-1 now. Now, 3 of the last 5 also have been decided by a field goal. Obviously, all the Niners, winning the game because, like I said, they've won 6 straight. Another point, I think, too, supposedly in Week 18, a lot of Niners fans in SoFi Field. So I think that's very important and something to watch out for today.
Big time.
Coach, what are your keys to the game for both teams?
I think it's going to be Bosa getting to the quarterback, and I think both teams getting to the quarterback today. If they can get through the quarterback, but I think the running game favors for the 49ers, and I think that's how they pull it out. They keep that offense off the field, and they put up some points.
Okay. Stizz, what would your keys be for both teams?
So my key to the game for San Fran is stick with what got you there.
100%.
Your defense and your run game.
Yep.
I mean, those are your 2 main, additions which got you to where you are now.
Right.
On the other side of the ball for the Rams, I think that's an easy one. I think it's Stafford not turning the ball over.
Yeah.
He turns the ball over, they may be in trouble. That's where San Fran's defense capitalizes, and they do it well. You know, if he doesn't turn the ball over like he did last week, not turn the ball over, that they go on with a win. Get to the Super Bowl.
I think my key, Stizz, building off what you said, is both these quarterbacks are known for the big mistake. Which quarterback doesn't make the big mistake? So I think that really could be the one who wins today. Mm-hmm. I think the Rams are going to want to, obviously, especially on first down, stifle that Niners run game. Put them into 2nd and 3rd and longs where Jimmy isn't as successful. Because even if you're giving them that 3 or 4 yards, it's a win for the Niners.
Sure
because they want to take you into that 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, 3rd and manageable type situations, and they excel in that. The Niners also have a lot of success in the middle of the field, throwing. Jimmy actually throwing in the middle of the field against the Rams. So I think that key for the Rams is going to be to stop that run, especially on first down. For the Niners, it's going to be will yourself do what you do, much like Stizz said, run the football. There was a point I think they run 11 straight games. They ran the ball 11 straight times against the Rams. When you can do that to a team, it's demoralizing. When you can just run the ball and a defense knows it's coming and they can't stop it, that says a lot. So one big thing to look out for today, whether Trent Williams is playing. Yeah. I mean, the best left tackle in football supposedly has a high ankle sprain. Now, he did say, come hell or high water, he will be playing. Now, he was not in the game in Week 18. But they beat him in Week 18 without him. So I still think that's a huge, huge factor in this game because he is just a stud left tackle. Coach, we'll start with you. Who wins today?
49ers.
Okay. Stizz, who wins?
San Fran owns the Rams. Okay. Yeah. Shanahan 7-3 versus McVay. Beat him twice this year already, as we already said. I'm gonna give you a bold prediction as well, and I try to look up stats on this, and maybe you guys know better. Right. But I'm going San Fran. Okay, I'm going to keep this streak alive, and this is going to be the first quarterback, if not one of very few, that has made it to the Super Bowl without throwing a touchdown pass in Jimmy Garoppolo.
Wow.
0 touchdown passes so far, fellas. Last 2 games.
I think the last one was, I think.
Who?
Tom Brady.
Really?
In the first one with the against the Rams. He did not have a touchdown pass.
And made it to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
now to Stizz's point though, too, he did have to play one less game. Garoppolo, if he doesn't throw a touchdown pass today, he would have played 3 games. Right. Brady would have played 2. Yeah. So even more to Stizz's point, Yeah, Angela, that's your nightmare, isn't it? Chiefs. That's your nightmare. Man, look, honestly, it's been so – I'm just so thrown off because, honestly, I believed I should have been 4-0 last weekend. Could have, would have, should have. They lost. But, I really thought we would be going in today and I'd be saying Bills. I had Bills, Bengals, and so Stizz said the Bengals would win 2 straight. But, the Packers too. I mean, and it just shows you the small things. Like, obviously the 3 of us aren't watching tape and saying, man, better watch out that Green Bay special teams. But, they were ranked 32nd in the league and it cost them. Much like with the Cowboys, we said coaching would cost them, and it did. So, you're only as good as your weakness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what cost them teams. So, and I think these games are tough. I'll give my picks, obviously, later. Now, Stizz, you want to talk about some receivers in some fantasy football?
I do. Okay. We talked about running backs last week. I gave you what's up, Kev? Bengals and Rams.
What's up, Kev?
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing it. I talked about running backs last week. I talked about a few breakouts, a few busts. I'm going to move on to wide receivers today. And, you guys chime in whenever you want. I'm going to start off with my breakouts. And I'm going to start out with a player that's playing today. White Lightning, I'm going to call him. Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp was an absolute monster this year. Okay? He had an average draft position in ADP of wide receiver 18, which was 44th overall, mid-4th round. He finished as wide receiver 1 this year. 145 receptions. 1,947 yards, almost 2,000 receiving yards with 16 touchdowns. Averaged 26 points per game this year. He went behind Robert Woods. I mean, there was talk all year about, who you should draft first, Robert Woods or Cooper Kupp. Nobody knew. And they went around that same area, mid-4th to late 4th round. Obviously we see Cooper Kupp was just an all-star. I mean, 100 yards a game, it seems like every game you could notch him in. So this guy was just unbelievable. And Kev, MVP, I think you have to put him in there, right? You have to put him on a vote for MVP because the guy was just unbelievable. He balled out.
Yeah, definitely.
Second guy I'm going to talk about is also playing today. How about that? Jamar Chase, rookie, Cincinnati. Listen, they talked about getting, the offensive lineman for Cincinnati this year. They went away from that. I think it was he a lineman, Nick? Who was the guy in Cincinnati was they said they needed
Penny Sewell. Everybody wanted to take, but they went right.
And they made the right move, it seems like. In Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase, ADP, wide receiver 29 overall.
Wow. He
was 73rd in total players overall drafted. He finished as a wide receiver 5.
Wow.
Okay. So you're talking wide receiver 5 is early to mid second round pick. 1,455 yards, 13 touchdowns. You see what he could do. I mean, he could have a monster game, whenever he wanted to, especially towards the end of the season. He really turned it on. And that connection is hopefully going to be a great one, moving forward. Third guy I want to mention, just so happens, he's also playing this week. And Mike Johnson just mentioned him a few chats ago. Debo. My God, this guy. ADP wide receiver 36. 84th overall. Finishes a wide receiver 3. Okay. 1,770 total yards. 14 touchdowns in total. In his third season, he took on more of a running back threat. He took more of a hybrid role, as we've seen. I wonder if that's going to, kind of move forward. We hope to see that. I like that. He may be classified next year as a wide receiver / running back. So in fantasy, that's huge. Mm-hmm. You can draft him in either position. You can play him in either position. So, we'll see what happens from there. Michael Johnson, they were playing for the Super Bowl. I guess they got it right. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Mike. And you know what? I actually made this list up a couple weeks ago. So it actually came out to be the right players. And there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of booms and busts out there. Did Tuck Rule retire, Angela?
Angela, that's what they're saying now. His dad and his agent refuted it, but I think it's because he wants to do it on his terms, release a video or have that press conference, probably do a one-day contract with the Patriots.
Interesting.
Coach typing in for us. No, he didn't, Angela. And all spelling correct. Good job, Coach.
That's great.
Well, you spell check. Thank you. You spell check.
Spell
No, at least he admits it.
Yeah.
Stizz, you want to continue? You got more?
So those are the breakouts. Let's get into the busts. And I have 3 of them for wide receivers. I'm going to start off with a big name that's been a first rounder for umpteen years, and he's DeAndre Hopkins. All right. And I classify bust as not just underperformance, but also injuries. Okay. You can't have stats if you don't play the game, right? If you're not on the field. So DeAndre missed 7 games this year. His ADP was wide receiver 4. He was right after Tyreek Hill. He was right after he was right in that realms of Jesus. I'm losing my train of thought here. I'm sorry. But he was right there as like a late first round, second round pick. He got drafted 16th overall, which was like mid-second round. He finished as a wide receiver 46. Wide receiver 46, not overall 46, wide receiver 46, which is bad for an all-star player. 572 yards, 8 touchdowns. Listen, his stats weren't so bad for missing 7 games, but not what you want out of a second-round pick. Moving on to, a guy that we had, a lot of high hopes for.
Yeah.
GoFundMe page is up, everybody. If anybody wants to chip in, change.
Hashtag fix Coach's internet speed.
Yeah. Second guy I want to talk about, and man, last year he was like the number 1 rookie, Calvin Ridley for the Atlanta Falcons. He missed 12 games this year. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't talk like this, but he kind of went off the deep end. He left the team for mental health issues. We don't know. We don't know what's going on with that situation because nobody really talked more about it.
Right.
Is it a thing? Is it not a thing? Did he just not want to play for Atlanta? I don't know. You know? I hope not.
I think he's going though. I think they said that they're going to go separate ways. I think you could ask the same question about Michael Thomas too. That's been never really talked about. He just never came back.
Nobody talked about him. Never came back. Everybody had high hopes from him. He got drafted in our drafts late, just in hopes that he would come back late in the season.
Yeah.
But he never did. Calvin Ridley, he was end of the second round pick. I had him on 2 of my fantasy teams. I was really juiced up about him. He was an ADP of wide receiver 5, which was, like I said, 19th overall, end of the second round. He finished as a wide receiver 102. I mean, he only played 5 games, which is not going to get you much. Yeah. 281 yards to be factual and 2 touchdowns. Second round pick, it's not going to get it. I don't know what's going to happen with him next year. Teams are going to be interested. I mean, he is a huge asset for any team. Just don't know about his, mental capacity right now. And teams are going to take a chance.
Yeah.
I hope he comes back strong, and I hope
talent always finds a way.
Yeah.
To help. Yeah, to help.
Well,
the
and
team.
Eagles are one of the teams rumored, Stizz, so.
Well, yeah, I did see that, and listen, I would take him in Philly in a heartbeat, and cross my fingers that he's okay.
Yeah. And that's oh, you got more? Sorry.
No, go ahead. What do you want to say?
No, I was gonna say that's one thing with the Eagles. We had talked about Brady retiring, but I think if you're the Eagles too, with the NFC being wide open, if you can go get that quarterback, you go get him.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Okay,
last guy we'll talk about real quick is Allen Robinson for the Chicago Bears. I mean, that was a quarterback turnstile, unfortunately for him. He just couldn't find his way. He had an ADP of wide receiver 11, which was 31st overall. Finished as a wide receiver 82. 38 receptions on the year, 410 yards, 1 touchdown. Mm-hmm. I talked about him early in the year. He was the most targeted wide receiver in the NFL. Since 2015, had 4 years of over 150 targets.
Wow.
Okay. Now that was huge back then. Now you see more of it,
Yeah.
wide receivers targeted a lot more because it's a pass heavy offense, from the last few years. But man, the guy got targeted a ton every year and he caught just about every ball. He didn't drop too many. 38 receptions this year. It's not going to do it. And it's a shame. And, I think he's going to move on as well. We said Calvin Ridley. I think he's going to move on from Chicago as well. And, I really hope he does because
he's on the franchise tag. So he's either moving on or.
Okay.
Well, you can do it back-to-back years, Coach.
Yes, I know that, but I don't see the Bears doing that.
No, I think you're right.
I hope he does move on. I hope he gives himself a chance because we've seen a lot of players that got stuck, in mediocrity and just never went anywhere.
Yeah,
and it's a shame that it's wasted talent.
Yeah,
okay?
And
it's like a big phrase on the Bronx Tale. Nothing like wasted talent. All right.
And you know what, too, Stizz, it seemed like Fields actually had more chemistry with Mooney than he did Allen Robinson.
He did, which was surprising.
Right.
And, I'm really surprised that you bring that up, that we didn't really see Nick Foles this year. I mean, they brought the red rifle in, when Justin Fields was out. I just didn't understand why.
Yeah. Now, one question I forgot to ask you guys, too.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Brady is retired, who's next? Now, I know, obviously, most people are going to say Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's about to possibly be in his third Super Bowl, going for his second. But, after they beat the Niners and won their first Super Bowl, it was really the Chiefs of that next dynasty. Well, then last year, guess what? You had Josh Allen have a great year, and Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert entered the league. So who do you guys got as next? Is it Mahomes, or do you think one of those other guys could be the next guy?
I guess I'll start.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a tough question. I see Mahomes being on top of that list.
Yeah.
But more importantly, what I like to see is this new regime coming in, which is great.
Right.
Your Tom Brady's, your Aaron Rodgers, your old schoolers are starting to kind of fade out, and this new regime of young bucks are coming in to take over.
Yeah.
And hopefully they're taking over for the next decade plus.
Yeah.
So as we see it today, I think you have to say Mahomes, right?
Well, I think a part of it is too, though, is situation. You know what I mean? Sure. He's got the talent around him and probably the best coach in football right now because it's offensive. I know you say Belichick coach, and you're right, but right now, offense is so much more important. And just the way the league is, Andy Reid might be the best coach in football as we speak today. I guess, is it Mahomes for you too, Coach?
No, it's not.
Who's next then?
Not Mahomes. I think it's Burrow because I think that staff's kind of staying together. I like Josh Allen, but you see they're losing guys off that staff. I think you're going to see some guys leave from Kansas City when they're done too. But I think Cincinnati, it's together, it's there, and I can see him. I think we can kind of. We might get tired of seeing Cincinnati and Kansas City playing in AFC Championships.
Good point.
That's the thing. I think you're going to see all three of those teams and Buffalo. Yeah. I like the Chargers. Yep. I just don't like the organization.
Yeah.
You saw it with Phillip Rivers. They had a couple good years, but that's what scares me more.
Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate it.
That's what I like Burrow too. And I said 2 weeks ago, I thought Burrow was the better quarterback. I really do. But the Chiefs, you got the better coach, the better line, the better receivers, the better tight end. Like you just got, he's already tired of it. Hey, look, Mahomes' cap's going to hit in. Orlando Brown Jr. is a free agent this year. Tyrann Mathieu. They're not going to be – look, they better win.
Right, they can't afford to pay all those people.
Right, it's going to get –
which is huge, yeah.
It's only going to get harder for the Chiefs. Sure. It's not going to get easier. Let's just put it like that. We're going to go into my picks now. I'll start with the Chiefs Bengals game. I think it's too many points. I really do. I'm going to take that 7 and a hook. I think, Bengals keep it a close game. Obviously winning the last game they played. but I like the Bengals with the points. I think a lot of people think the Chiefs are just going to smoke them. I mean, you got to realize here, you could be down as much as 2 touchdowns late, and they backdoor you, and, you got to factor those things out when you're laying a lot of points. I like the Bengals plus 7.5. I'm also going to give a little prop in that game because I think either way, you're going to see him throw a lot. I like Burrow over 293.5 yards because if they're losing, guess what? They're going to throw the ball. And, if they're winning, I think, and have success, it's going to be because they throw the ball. Trust me, they saw that Bills game last week.
Yeah.
Now, I do think they're going to try to get Mixon going, no doubt. They will because Mixon's a baller. And he can also be dangerous, catching the ball out of the backfield too. But I do think Burrow is going to throw over 293.5 yards today. And then I will get into my I also like the Niners plus 3.5. This game, I have a weird feeling the Rams are going to win by a field goal. I don't know why. I'm going to take the points because it's a divisional game. Like I said, 3 of the last 5, the Niners actually have won, have all been by a field goal. I just think for some reason, and look, you're talking about trying to thread the needle.
Yeah.
I'm trying to really thread the needle, and it's tough to do. But I like the Rams with the Niners covering. I just think the Rams are going to win, but not cover. But I like the Niners with the 3.5. And that will be the Bengals will be my lock of the week. Now, Coach, your lock of the week
is the Bengals.
Coach, you told me the Niners are.
Oh, the Niners. I'm sorry, Niners. Let's go.
That's our boy.
Well,
Go fund me page for Coach's
Yes.
picks.
Yeah.
Throw a couple extra ducats in there for Coach's
All right, Coach,
picks.
yeah. So he's going to get Coach's lock is the Niners, not the Bengals. Sorry, everybody.
Yes, the Niners. The Niners. I like the Niners and the Bengals in the Super Bowl, baby. Rematch.
Well, so I'm going to go 0-2 today. I might as well just go pay my bookie now. Stizz, can you give me a ride to my bookie? I'm just going to go pay them now.
I got you. No problem.
All right. Stizz, your lock of the week, and then we're going to get your prop bet as well.
Okay, that sounds good. I couldn't make up my mind in this Kansas City Bengals game once the line went up to 7.5.
Yeah.
I was heartbroken. You know what I mean? It was almost a coin flip to me. So listen, I'm going to go for the lock. I'm going to go for the over. 54.5 total points.
I love this as well, Stizz.
I mean, they should both ball out. They're both going to throw the hell out of the ball. I mean, we've seen what happened in week 17. They scored 65 points.
Yeah.
I mean, so this 54.5 should be easy.
And the weather's not too bad either. 49, which isn't too bad.
Perfect. Perfect throwing weather. Perfect throwing the ball weather.
Yep.
Gets you over on both quarterbacks. So I'm going the over 54.5. I think that's pretty safe, especially with these two quarterbacks and these two offenses.
Okay. And then Stizz, your prop bet of the week.
My prop bet, I'm staying with money, baby. I'm staying with my kicker props. My kicker props haven't let me down all year long. And I'm staying with the MVP of the league, kicker-wise, Evan McPherson. Over 6.5 total points, which means, they're counting that as like fantasy points. So any field goal up to 39 yards is 3 points.
Right.
40 to 49 is 4 points, so on and so forth. Extra points count as 1. So I could see him getting an easy 40-yarder and a 30-yarder.
I don't think it's fantasy. I think it's actual points.
Points, yeah.
1 point for extra point and then field goals.
3 points,
correct.
yeah.
But I mean, that's exactly how fantasy runs. But they do count it as if it's a 40-yarder to a 49-yarder, it counts as 4 points. In betting-wise as well. It doesn't count as 3, just 3.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't think that's how it was in games.
Because I had one. I had one that hit in the first half. That was a 40-yarder and a 30-yarder, and boom, I hit it right away.
I didn't know that.
I can see this happening again.
Okay.
All right, good stuff.
And look, McPherson was – settle down, Coach. Just still a minute. McPherson was probably the MVP last week. And what I love about him, this kid's a rookie. And like you can see it in the thing. He looks like he's 12.
He's
and
got
like
some balls, baby.
Talking, they said before he went in, he goes, all right, he gets up, goes, look like I'm kicking us to the AFC Championship game. Now, how many guys are going to have the balls to say that? Love it. Yep. All right, Coach, take us out.
All right, good job, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for checking us out. We appreciate it. Listen, like the page, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Share it with your friends. We love the help. Enjoy the games. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Have fun. Be safe.